Yes, everyone, welcome to Transfer Talk. My name is Stephen Howson. We're going to be talking about Daniel James being confirmed, and we've also got some other stuff to go through as well. If you go and head over to the Squawker channel, once we're finished with this one, you'll see that there's a little documentary that I did with them guys a couple of weeks ago, which has just been released, so check that out. We are also going to be increasing our recruitment, not just United, also here at Studio 68. So if you are interested in doing an internship over the summer, then if you are doing journalism, if you're a video editor, if you are looking at social media, there's a ton of different roles that are available. Loads of people have gone on from full-time jobs, whether that was here or elsewhere. If you're interested in any of those, head over to my Twitter, at Mr. Stephen Howson, and go and fill the details out that's required over on there as well. So if you'd like to get in the mixer, and you're looking for some experience to go and get yourself into the industry, as long as you're studying, don't necessarily need a load of qualifications, as long as you're studying, you can come and do that one. Righty then, let's get stuck into it. So Daniel James has been announced by Manchester United. It looks like it's around about £15 million with £3 million add-ons. He is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first signing as Manchester United manager. Loads of places this morning's reporting that he'd passed his medical. United have now announced it there on the app, obviously. Ryan Giggs has had some good stuff to say. He says United are getting a fantastic player that the fans will get behind and enjoy watching. Simon Jordan, the ex-Palace chairman, don't know why he's been talking, but he says, Dan James, think this is exactly the kind of move that United should be making. I think that United are going to spend an unprecedented amount of money this summer to be able to bridge the gap. Well, I think you and me both hope that, my mate, if that's going to be the case. Neil McCann, who's James' former coach at the Hull Academy, said, we used to take him everywhere with us. We took him to the youth team games as a young kid just to see what the environment was like and try to accelerate his development. He's trained with the youth team at 14 or 15 and he didn't look out of place. So he got 5 goals, 7 assists for Swansea in all comps this season. He gets fouled about 3 times more than like Tony Marshall does, and he's also doing more successful dribbles per game than Tony Marshall, albeit in the Championship. It is worth noting. So that's the first one over the line. My reaction to it, well, no, Daniel James is not going to bridge the gap on his own between Manchester City, Liverpool and United. He's not going to do that on his own. But this is hopefully the sort of direction we're going in terms of players that can play a certain system. I've cliched myself out talking about if the right player is a 30-year-old from the Championship, don't really care. It can be a 21-year-old from the Championship too, just as easily. So as long as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is getting the players he wants to play the system he wants to play, then I'm happy. Next up then, we're going to talk about Yuri Tillman. So I thought he was very impressive, and I was quite surprised actually that Leicester managed to get this over the line from Monaco. Monaco loan out a lot of players, don't they? What's all that about? 3 goals and 4 assists in 13 games. Pretty good return that for a midfielder. Apparently he's been on United's radar, and there's someone United are looking at should Pogba leave the club. That's what the Independent was saying about it. And apparently we're set to go head-to-head with Leicester and Spurs for this. But the player's actually done the most unprecedented thing and actually let the cat out the bag himself. Now, I kind of like that there's loads of these going on that we're not hearing about. And he says, flattered by the interest and at United and Spurs. They're really big teams in England and in Europe. To hear those names gives me confidence. I just try to play my game on the pitch and try my best. 0.32 assists from open play per 90 in the league. That's the 3rd best in the league. And 0.49 chances created per 90. That's the 6th best in the league. As well as 0.9 through balls attempted per 90, which puts him in the 3rd best league. This is a guy that's in the elite category for stuff. Very surprised when he went to Leicester. A lot of people are trying to use those mid-table teams and possibly United, as a stepping stone to getting onto a really decent club. That would be an excellent signing for United. He's Premier League proven. Albeit just in a very short amount of time. He's played in the league. He's done very well in the league. This would be a very good buy for United if we was going to get him. Sounds like there's genuine interest. But with all of these things, you've got to take into account that, like the Wan-Bissaka, Munier sort of thing, there's probably a list. One's going to be number 1, someone's going to be number 2, someone's going to be number 3, someone's going to be number 4. You don't know whereabouts any of these people are on the list. Make sure to like the video as well. Like the video if you're happy that we've got the first signing. And like the video if you think that we're probably not going to get everybody that we want this summer. In terms of outs then, we are pretty much looking at David De Gea, aren't we? Sky in Italy are reporting that Buffon's deal is not going to be extended at PSG. So PSG are obviously on the hunt for a new goalkeeper. And didn't they just pick up David De Gea's best friend? Yes, they did. That might have been a very smart move on their part. Paris are set to make United a bid for David De Gea after they announced the departure of Buffon. That's what the Times are saying about it. PSG on the hunt for a new keeper and will make David De Gea their main priority, is what ESPN are saying about it. And Alphonse Areola will compete for the club's #1 berth next season, though PSG have made an offer to De Gea amid uncertainty over his future. That's according to the formerly great local newspaper, now disreputable blog, the Manchester Evening News. So what do you guys think on this one? For me, I'm kind of bored of the De Gea saga. I see a lot of United players getting stick. And I've got my suspicions as to why. But I see a lot of players that have expressed a desire to leave the club not getting any stick. David De Gea has tried to leave United 3 times. If he'd have signed his contract, signed the thing this summer, I think pretty much every single Manchester United fan would have been like, that's my goalkeeper, #1, we're having nothing about it. But when you look at the issues with his distribution, which have been massively highlighted, now we no longer play someone like a Fellaini that's able to scoop those balls up that he punts forward. When you look at the issues with concentration towards the end of it, and it brings into focus those times that he's tried to leave the club, you go, man, what are we doing? Why are we being held to hostage by a guy that doesn't want to be here? Is he the best shot stopper in the world? He might be. Is he completely irreplaceable? A lot of good goalkeepers out there at the moment, and there's a lot of areas you could upgrade what Dave does, certainly with the ball at his feet. I think it'd be helped if we had better ball-playing defenders and the midfield could actually take up positions that don't require them coming all the way into the box to collect the ball, because Chris Smalling couldn't find his arsehole with both hands. But Dave's weaknesses are there for everybody to see. It's just the truth, isn't it? If he'd have signed a thing, I'd have had no qualms at defending him. But we don't want to be here, so what are we doing? Outside of that, we've seen United linked with the likes of James Maddison, which I think would be a very good signing for United. I think he's probably secondary to a bit of a bigger name. But like I said, good player. Certainly create a lot of chances. You could go to Leicester and Wolves. If you just went to those teams alone, and even Crystal Palace as well, like, you can go to those teams and make United a force to be reckoned with. If you could pick up the likes of Ndidi and Maddison and Maguire and pick up Wan-Bissaka or Neves or someone like that from Crystal Palace and Wolves, and that's what United need to do. Now, we've gone a bit further down there with Daniel James, haven't we? Pulling him out of the Championship. But I think this is where United do our best work in the transfer market. Very rarely have those massive name signings come off for us. I remember being impossibly excited for Juan Veron coming in. What a player. Oh my God. What a player. And we were talking to someone the other day and we were saying the Veron transfer has reminded me a hell of a lot of Paul Pogba. Where you go, people like to rewrite history with Veron and say he was shit. He wasn't shit. But we had a midfield of Scholes, Keane, Beckham and Giggs. It wasn't broke and it didn't need fixing. Certainly not then anyway. Fergie wanted to move to a 5-man midfield and Ruud van Nistelrooy up front to sort of accommodate that more continental European style of play. Veron was a bit of Keane and a bit of Scholes, and not as good at either of the jobs that they was doing as them two. But he was a hell of a footballer, and he had some wonderful games. There was one of the games that he had at the Main Road where he was ridiculously good. He's got a bit of bite about him. Pogba reminds me a little bit of Veron. Veron had better decision making, but the inconsistency, the not knowing where he fits in best, not knowing how the team gets the best out of this player, and obviously the sheer amount that he came for. Maybe it's time to get some money back on him. Maybe it's time to get some money back on David De Gea before he walks out on us for free next summer. There we go. Any questions? Do a couple minutes of questions before we get off. Let's see what the questions are saying. Fernandes next, please. Fernandes would be a hell of a signing, wouldn't he? I thought it was really interesting watching how Portugal tried to fit those players in. That was a lot of players shoehorned into a system rather than trying to pick out the best system. Fernandes is a 10. He was drifting out wide onto the right. João Felix is probably a 10, really. He was drifting deep and going left a little bit with it. Sounds like City have made the offer for him as well. I wouldn't be surprised to see both of them. But I think Fernandes would be the upgrade on Maddison if we could get him in. I just don't think we're going to. HMD says sell De Gea. Santa Claus more likely to come than De Ligt. Really? I don't think it's that out of the question, to be honest with you. Fernandes would only come to replace Pogba, says T. Lewis. Do I think that we might get... Who do I think we might get in the attacking role? Depends on the role, doesn't it? Let's be honest. Next signing is Bruno, says Subash. Welcome, Daniel James. Looking forward to watching him play for United, says Steve. What if we buy Mingale from the Scousers? What? Who's the most realistic signing? Who knows? We have no idea. Coutinho? No, I don't think so. That's a mad one. Would I consider this a failed window if we don't sign Koulibaly, De Ligt or Alderweireld? No, but if we don't sign any centre-half whatsoever, yes. We have to improve at centre-half and we have to improve right-back. If we don't address both of those things, literally both, not just one of those, both of those, then we're in it for a nightmare. We're in an absolute nightmare for that. Who do I see as actually signing? I would hope Wan-Bissaka. Stephen, there is news that we will announce the signing of Fernandes as our second signing after the Nations League. Do you think there's any truth in this? I've not heard that. I don't know. Stephen, Rabiot, no please. No please? What does that mean? Would I want Tielemans? Yeah, I like him. I think he's a very good player. I think he's proved how good he is in the league so far. But again, I think this is... I think that there's a hierarchy of signings here. One might be first choice, one might be second choice, one might be third choice. What would you do the Pogba for 3 players deal? Is that on the table? How likely is Wan-Bissaka? From what I can gather, he wants to come. There's issues going on with his agents. I think that's the top and bottom of it, unfortunately. Ben, I've seen a lot of concern with attitude, but previous players with attitude problems, Cantona, Rooney and Smith, etc. have thrived when and injected personality. Will he compete with Mason? See, I'm torn on this one. We was talking about it only the other day, actually, that, you know, everyone said Cantona was a problem. But you get problems like Bellamy and Balotelli, and you get problems that might be what Rabiot is or what Cantona was. Some of them fit, some of them just completely oil and water and never going to mix and are never going to do anything. That's where you've got to really make the right move in terms of what are they like as a personality. You can't just say, he's a problem, never sign him, because we wouldn't have had Cantona, and the guy's like one of my favourite players of all time. So I don't know. Right, I'm going to wrap it up there. A couple of questions talking about pre-season. I am hopefully going on pre-season. I'm in Perth for 6 days, Singapore for 5, and China for the final 4. So if you're out over there, I'll come see you over there. I think there's an AFL game that I'm going to try and check out, as well as the Perth game while we're in Perth. I have no idea what's going on in China or in Singapore, so if you've got any ideas, you know of anything going on, then hit me up. I'd love to come and join you and hang out and all the rest of it. Make sure to subscribe. We are over 100,000 now, which does feel like a pretty significant milestone. So thank you to everybody that has subscribed. Make sure to ring that notification bell if you already are. And I will see you in the next one. Laters.